Alrighty, welcome back to another trade recap. I am in my fucking basement right now, so don't mind the basement. It's unfinished. I got my cleaning ladies upstairs. But today I took 3 trades, and I'm basically break even. I'm only up like $200. But I took 3 trades, and I want to run you through market open because today was a very interesting day in the market. Now, so coming into market open, this is what market looked like, right? So if we go to the higher time frame here, let's get this bar out of the way. Coming into market open, we had this giant 4-hour bearish for value gap that we ended up putting in the overnight session, or yesterday, sorry. And we had a 4-hour change in the state to the downside. Now, because of this 4-hour change in the state and big displacement, I want us to rebalance into this 4-hour and back to equilibrium of this price leg, right? To then finish sell side of the curve, right? Because we have all this generated buy side or all this generated sell side liquidity that I would want to see become low resistance that we have been generating the past couple weeks. Now, if we scroll down here, and let me kind of get back to, because what time is? Let me get back to close to 7:30 or whatever. Okay, so 7 o'clock, 7:15. All right, perfect. So coming into market open, we had London highs resting above, and then we had been generating all this sell side liquidity in the overnight session, right? So we had all this low resistance that I would want to see become a low resistance liquidity run. So coming into market open, what I wanted to see was NQ come up, manipulate one last high, which would be this internal high. And then if we take a look at ES, where we were at that time, ES was around here, and we had London highs resting above here. So I wanted to see ES take London before NQ putting in a bearish S&P to then move lower, right? And let me make it apparent. Going into market open, I'm strong bearish bias. Like, I am strong bearish bias. I want to see this kind of... At first, I want to see market go higher to take London and put it in a bearish S&P, and then maybe tap into this 15-minute for value gap and equilibrium of the price leg, and then have big displacement down, right? Now, we did have this bullish S&P that we ended up putting in and continuing to respect this new week opening gap. However, this bullish S&P, what I like to call, quote unquote, did its job, right? This bullish S&P kind of sparked the move to go rebalance to the 4-hour bearish for value gap, right? So coming into market open, I noticed that, listen, this bullish S&P is still intact, but it kind of has done its job, quote unquote. Now, if we scroll down to the 5-minute, right before market open, we end up taking this internal high. And then ES ends up coming up, taking out this high. We end up putting in a bearish SMT, right? Which end up being London high on ES. So this high, if we take a look, this high right here was London high on ES. So ES ends up taking London. And if we look at the 15-minute, we're continuing to respect this 15-minute bearish for value gap. And if we look back at the 5-minute, we tap into this unfilled 5-minute bearish for value gap. Scroll down one more. And on the 1-minute, I took this during pre-market. So keep in mind, I don't usually take trades during pre-market, but this was super clear, and I was completely fine putting on risk. I was only risking around 20 points, so around like $400, and the RR was decent. So once we closed above this 1-minute, below this 1-minute change, and ran through this bullish for value gap, I entered short, and not soon later, I ended up getting stopped out when market opened. Completely fine with it. I cleared my chart, and I'm like, okay, what does market want to do now, right? This SMT gets broken, and we end up going to take London high, right? So because we have taken London high and tapped into this bearish fair value gap, this bearish 15 minute that I originally wanted to see us tap into, this doesn't invalidate this model. This doesn't invalidate the short model at all. So I'm still bearish bias. However, I want to see what the reaction is when we take London and when we take, when we take London and when we tap into the bearish fair value gap. So we end up taking London, right? And if we take a look over at ES, NQ shoots up and takes this internal high. So NQ takes this internal high, ES does not. So we broke the external SMT, but we actually put in an internal. So let's go over to ES. And if we take a look at ES, if we take a look at the 15 minute, what does market do? What do we do when market opens? We come up, tap constant encroachment of this 15-minute wick and displace lower. Now I noticed this, and then I also noticed that NQ takes the internal high, therefore we have a bearish SMT. I mark out the 1 minute change, right? And as soon as we get below this 1 minute change, I enter long. My original stop was at this SMT high, and I'm targeting all the way down to Asia with my first TP at this internal low. And then as soon as my TP gets hit, I move my stop to break even, right? So price comes down, we take out that low, I move my stop to break even. We eventually get stopped out at break even. So these were my two trades basically like in the morning, right at market open. I mean, I was done basically by 7:46. Right after this, I just decided to get off. I was like, listen, market's not going in my favor. I'm obviously, my bias is wrong because we ended up being extremely bullish. And I just wanted to get off and go do other things that I needed to do, right? So we end up, sorry, my phone's going apeshit. Holy shit. All right. We end up, long story short, pumping all the way up to fucking all-time highs. So we end up pumping all the way to all-time highs. However, if we take a look at NQ, let me just kind of get through to this real quick. Hold on. So like I said, we end up pumping all the way to all-time highs. Okay. Let me get rid of this 15-minute. Let's change and this fair value gap. So we end up pumping to continue to pump around, what was this? 152 points. Basically from nothing. We had no manipulation leg. So again, like I said, I get off, but once we tap this unfilled 1 hour, right? And I took this on my phone, keep in mind. I literally took this on my phone in the car on the way to the gym. I just opened my phone and I was like, okay, this looks good. This looks decent. And we end up putting in this unfilled 15-minute bullish fair value gap. And I scroll in, or I zoom in. And I notice, let me actually go back in time here. We end up putting in an internal bearish SMT at these highs. Now, does this internal SMT show me that we want to go all the way back down and take out all this generated sell side? No, absolutely fucking not. We are extremely bullish. I understand that. I have completely flipped my bias at this point. However, can we go to this internal low? Yes, we can go to this internal low. Can we go rebalance to, can we rebalance to the unfilled 15-minute? Absolutely. However, this unfilled 15-minute was just adding confluence for me because I understood that, okay, this internal lows here, we have this unfilled 15-minute. I don't know if I'm going to target the 15-minute. I might just take what I'm confident in and target this internal low, which is exactly what I did. So once we got below this change, I entered short with my stop at this SMT protected high and just targeting this internal low for like literally just a 1-to-1. And we end up coming back to the change, tapping the change, coming back down and taking out sell side. This TP was hit, take profit was hit. And again, like I said, this was my third and last final trade of the day. I'm only up around $200. So basically break even. That's what I count as a break even day. But those were my 3 trades. And if we just look at market now, where were we at? Okay, right here. If we look at market now, we can understand how bullish we actually are. So we come up and like literally from down here, we pumped basically almost 250 points, no manipulation. This is very weird price action. It was actually pretty interesting to me. And this is another key thing that I want you guys to know is just like when we have days like this where I know for a fact myself and most people, most traders that I'm good friends with are bearish bias, right? We're generating all this sell side liquidity. We're in this giant 4-hour bearish for value gap. We're continuing to respect it over the overnight. We have our internal manipulation and we move lower. But you guys need to look at this as just like gathering more data. Okay, this is crazy. Why did market do this? You know what I mean? Was there a manipulation? No, there wasn't a manipulation. There was an internal manipulation, but we had no manipulation of this low resistance. This move wouldn't be considered like a crazy move if we came down and take out this low resistance and then build it back up. You know what I mean? This is basically just a straight up or straight down accumulation, no manipulation, straight up move. This is not efficient price action. I guess it is efficient, but this is not, I guess you could say, normal price action. But the key is don't get mad at price action, right? The market is always right. This is what the market is wanting to do. It's always right. I'm not right. The market is right. I am wrong, right? So I take this to account like, okay, this is interesting. Let me figure out why market did this, right? And just learn and gather more data. And that's super important. So those were my trades today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm only up around like $200, so basically break even. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next trade recap.